Hi, I'm Rick Williams. I work for International Paper as the digital print expert. What you do when you profile a paper is you literally do curves. So you print these patterns and then you scan them into the press. Because what linearization is the lining up of the heads. Each press it's just like anything else you build. And it's just like a car you build. Each car could have a little bit of problem, all right? Presses are the same way, so you've got to linearize the press so that those inkjet heads line up exactly the way they're supposed to on the paper to give you the best print. Profiling is when you run the curve. So you print at 10% ink, 20% ink, 30% ink, 40% ink, 50% ink, all the way up to 100% ink. And then it forms a curve for the machine to go by, to know exactly where it should position itself to lay ink down. All right, so that's the difference. Profiling is developing the color. Linearization is dropping the drops in the right spot. Paper profiling is probably the most painful part of a printer. No printers like it. They hate it. It really infringes on their job. Each sheet is unique to the market. Each sheet will profile differently on the press. What we found with Accent especially, Accent with Image Lock, and we discovered this with Canon, was that we ran and profiled a 60-pound sheet, all right, of Image Lock, Accent with Image Lock. And then they ran every other weight against that same profile and linearization, and it almost the color gamut fit on top of one another. So they felt Accent with Image Lock was the only sheet they had that you could profile and linearize one weight and every other weight ran against it and ran well. You scan those. So you print them and literally you scan them into the press. On the sheet-fed presses only. They're not providing them on the roll feds. We've had conversations with them. Some of them are looking into it. They're just not sure they can do it. On the i300 in particular, those presses are profiled by Canon. All right, so they are MVP, they call MVP. That's what their profile name is. So they MVP the paper at Canon and they push those profiles out to the press. Overall, like I said, it's the only press I know of that does it. Most of the other stuff's profiled on the press. Now, Xerox does do profiles on their sheet fed too. The Brenva has papers they profile on the press and they push them out. But mainly we see it in sheet fed. We don't see it a lot in roll fed. All roll feds are usually done on site right now. We'd like to see that change in the future. All we can do is ask the OEMs to look into it. You know, a lot of print providers hate it so much, they'll try to run against an old profile or another profile of another paper, and it never works. You've got to profile the sheet. There's no easy way to do it. There just isn't. I wish I could tell everybody there's just this easy way, this little trick you can do to get it all done in an hour. Isn't there. It's got to be done, and it's painful, and it takes time to do it. There's really no trick or no shortcut. There just isn't. Linearization just lines up the head. So you think about an inkjet press. They're 22-inch print path. They have redundant heads. So your inkjet heads are sort of offset across the press. All right, so they're redundant, so that if one nozzle gives out, another nozzle will pick it up. All right, so you never stop printing. So what it does is it lines those heads up so that those drops aren't dropping in the wrong spot. They're dropping exactly where they're supposed to drop. Because remember now, you're running this press at 450 to 500 feet a minute or faster. And so these drops of ink are literally dropping so fast that it's just hitting the paper like crazy. All right, so having alignment only helps you in matching your colors and making it look really good coming off the end. Believe me, if you don't have it lined up, you'll see it. Especially if you're doing a 4-color black, you can literally look at it under a loupe and you can see the cyan or one of the colors bleeding out of the black because it wasn't lined properly, wasn't linearized. Linearization takes about approximately an hour and a half. Profiling can take 3 hours to profile a sheet. The one thing to remember is once you profile it, it's in the press. You don't have to profile it again. So it's a one-time shot for both profiling and linearization. Once that information's fed into the press, it stays in the press.